Lots to be thankful for on this Thanksgiving Eve, like amazing coworkers, a full day of football ahead,
yes,
and the fact that I'm not on the freeway. Yes. Welcome to NFL Total Access. With Scott Hansen, I'm Lindsay Rhodes.
Yeah, on the busiest travel day of the year, the Bears are going on the road with their starting quarterback injured. Mitch Trubisky listed as doubtful for Chicago's game tomorrow in Detroit. Trubisky has an injured throwing shoulder. Happened on their Sunday night win over the Vikings. So Chase Daniel is set to start on Thanksgiving.
This week is a little bit different just because it's a short week, but I really haven't changed the way I've prepared. We're prepare like a starter every week. So for me, it's just another game. You know, Nags and I go way back. He was my position coach for 3 years in Kansas City, obviously, and we stayed close for my time away in Kansas City. And yeah, we have a great relationship. So if it comes to that, you know, we trust each other pretty well. So we know what each other likes, and I think we would just roll.
With more on the sudden change for Chicago, here's Stacey Dales.
Given the injury to quarterback Mitch Trubisky's throwing shoulder this week for the Bears, all eyes point towards the backup, Chase Daniel, who hasn't started a game in the National Football League since 2014. But he also has at least 5 years accrued in this offensive system. Of course, 3 in Kansas City with then positional coach Matt Nagy, a year in Philadelphia, and now with the Chicago Bears. He told me this week in the locker room, I know this offense like the back of my hand. I asked tight end Trey Burton, who spent a season with Daniel in Philadelphia, what does he bring to the table? He said knowledge, leadership, he understands what to do. He knows where to go with the football in open space, and he knows how to read a defense. You get the sense with these Chicago Bears, they like their odds with Chase Daniel.
I mean, Chase Daniel has been around the NFL, but this will only be his 3rd career start on national TV on the best football holiday of them all. Let's bring in Kurt Warner here, who knows a thing or two about cashing in on an opportunity when the starter goes down. Kurt, how much, if at all, does the Bears' scheme change with Chase Daniel going in instead of Trubisky?
Well, you know, I don't know if the scheme is going to change that much, but when you watch the Bears, there's been a couple things that have been, I think, catalysts offensively to them winning. Trubisky's made some big throws, but he hasn't made big mistakes, and he's made a lot of plays with his legs. When things fall apart, a lot of first downs, a lot of big plays with his legs. And so that becomes the question for me with Chase Daniel, is that he can make some throws. I've seen him do some really good things in this league, but he also has the ability to give a couple away. And that's what you can't do in this setting. So protect the football, and I think they can get a win anyways.
Okay, Kurt, we follow you on social media, and we saw your tweet. If Drew Brees does not win the MVP, it will be a travesty. And I know there are some other deserving candidates you put in there. Command of the game, command of the ball all season has been masterful. Can't get enough of watching his film. We let you now on national TV continue your 140 characters on Drew Brees.
Well, I tell you what, I'm not going to say a Patrick Mahomes doesn't deserve it or a Todd Gurley, but I just think Drew Brees deserves at least a part of it. He has been incredible this year when you watch the way he throws the football, when you watch the way he gets through his progressions, just strictly playing the quarterback position, not just about touchdowns, not about wow throws, but just playing the quarterback position. Nobody is playing it better, and he's got stats to back it up, even though they're not as gaudy as some of the other guys. But I believe he deserves a part of this award, assuming everything stays the same for the last 5-6 weeks of the season.
Let me throw out a name real quick. Aaron Donald, MVP candidate?
In this NFL, Scott, I'm going to say no. You know, I know he made a couple big plays on Monday night, but it's all about the offense. And as long as you have offensive guys putting up the numbers that they're putting up, I don't believe Aaron Donald gets in the conversation. He's good. He's a difference maker. But when you don't make a play or you don't have the ball in your hands on every play and other guys are playing well when they do that, I think it's going to be hard for him to be considered.
Kurt Warner, never been friendly with good inside pass rush defensive tackles. Kurt, thanks. Stand by. Your top 5 coming up a little bit later on.
All right, so that Rams game on Monday, not enough to put Donald over the top for Kirk, but it did keep LA at the top in the NFC playoff picture, though that could change quickly. As you see here, the Saints are just a half game back. Rams have a bye this week. New Orleans has a head-to-head win in hand, and they've got a game against the Falcons tomorrow that could move them into pole position for home field advantage, so long as they win on their home field tomorrow. Tiffany Blackman has more on that. She's in Metairie.
Saints rookie receiver Traquan Smith is coming off of his best game of the season, 157 yards and a touchdown in that win against the Eagles. Something Smith talked about today was just how instrumental Drew Brees has been in his success. Smith said, with Drew, you were never covered in his eyes. He knows how to manipulate a defense and put the ball where only you can get it. He then said, as a young receiver, I need that because my game is not always there. The Saints are hoping that Smith can go tomorrow. He is questionable, along with defensive end Marcus Davenport. And sticking with injuries, left tackle Teron Armstead is out, and so is Falcons linebacker Deion Jones, who was activated from IR last week. He will not make his return against his hometown team.
Another big divisional showdown tomorrow for the division lead, Washington-Dallas at AT&T Stadium. Winner moves into the driver's seat. Cowboys lost to the Redskins back in Week 7. It was Dak Prescott's first loss to the Redskins in his career. But as Jane Slater reports from Frisco, a lot has changed since then.
The significance of this game is not lost on either the Cowboys or the Redskins heading into this one on Thursday, but they both look very different from their last contest when they met in October. For the Redskins, of course, they've got a new quarterback in Colt McCoy following the injury to Alex Smith. And then for the Cowboys, well, they've made changes to their offensive line. Gone is Paul Alexander, their O-line coach, and in is Mark Colombo, their former offensive lineman. They've also made a change at left guard in Xavier Suafilo, who is allowing this offensive line to get the protection up front that Ezekiel Elliott has been looking for. Both Elliott and quarterback Dak Prescott touched on this week, saying that Elliott is finally finding the grooves again, finding those holes and making people miss. But he's not just making people miss, he's getting to the secondary and converting those things into touchdowns.
I think we definitely put ourselves in a situation. This game is for, getting that number one spot in the division. And I think it's definitely a big game for us. And it's really important for us to, go out there and do whatever we can to win this game so it can set us up for the rest of the season.
The Redskins' run defense is stout, though, ranked 6th in the league. Guys like Daron Payne and Jonathan Allen are certainly capable of shutting down opposing offenses.
Good stuff, Jane, and we will see you again tomorrow, a 4:30 start time for that game. Whoever has the most points 3 hours later will also have control of the division, and the last 3 teams to have that control after Week 12 went on to win the division. William Guinness, James Jones. Who's going to be?
You going at me first?
Yeah.
I'm going with the boys. I like what the Cowboys has been doing the last couple of weeks. And when you look at the Washington Redskins, their team has been in the decline. Whether it's points scored, whether it's the way the injuries, the things that are piling up that are making it hard for them to win. And when I look at the Washington Redskins, it's a certain style to me they have to play to win football games. I don't think teams that get out in front of them, they can fight with. They don't have the firepower on the offensive side of the ball. Their defense is good, and I know what they do. But when looking at the Cowboys and what they've done with Zeke and the receivers and the volume, I think it all starts with Zeke. The volume of touches, 55 touches in the last couple of weeks. He's had almost 400 yards of scrimmage yards, which means he's not only being productive, but he's opening up things for the other players offensively. I think Dak has settled in. He's starting to use his feet and his vision, and he's got more guys to distribute the ball to, with Amari Cooper and Gallup stepping up and Beasley starting to fill in his role.
I have to disagree with you, Willie. I got to go with the Redskins. I like the Redskins, and I like the addition of Colt McCoy. Listen, they're in a good situation. Nothing changes for the Washington Redskins. Coach, you go out there, don't turn the ball over, make some throws, which he has done all his career. Him and Alex Smith average the same passing yards per game, 209 per game. So nothing is going to change. He's been in the system for 4 years. Take care of the ball. We're going to run it, and we're going to play defense. You just heard Jane say they have the 6th ranked rushing defense, so I think they're going to stop Zeke like they stopped him last time they played. I think this is the Redskins division. I think they find a way to get to 10 wins. They're going to win this game, and I think they're going to win this division. I could see this Colt McCoy situation ending up being like a Case Keenum situation last year with the Minnesota Vikings.
It's not even the same, though. When you look at the production and how they play, First of all, you got the injuries, okay? So the rush has been down. They was averaging, 120-some yards. Now they're down just over 100 yards rushing. With the injuries to the offensive line, that directly impacts the way they want to play, whether it's protection, if they want to air it out with Colt, or running the football. I like Colt. He's not Alex Smith. I'm not going to put him on that level.
They close.
But I just think it's going to be tough. And I think if Dallas jumps out in front, it's
hopefully
help
help is on the way for the offensive line. You get your best, you tackle back.
If you get Trent back, then
you'll be all right.
It's a little help.
Redskins 1-7 against the Cowboys on Thanksgiving. We'll see if they can turn that around tomorrow.
That's why you got your Redskins.
Sounds like James thinks they will.
Lindsay,
Willie
look at
thinks
her.
that they won't.
She just didn't tell you.
Fun night last night on NFL Network. The Gold Jacket semifinalists presented by Kay Jewelers revealed right here on our air 25 names that remain in consideration for this year's Hall of Fame class, including Champ Bailey, Tony Gonzalez, and Ed Reed, who are all eligible for the first time this year. Obviously, that makes them first-time semifinalists, as are Tom Flores and Zach Thomas. Everyone else on this list has made it this far at least once, and we will find out who makes it even further on January 3rd. 15 finalists announced on that day. Meanwhile, in Cincinnati, an announcement that will make Bengals fans pretty happy. According to Marvin Lewis, A.J. Green will return to practice this week and will likely play on Sunday. The head coach saying that the wideout, who's missed 2 games with a toe injury, is ready to get back to work. Bengals have the Browns at home. Raiders are on the road at Baltimore. And according to Derek Carr, they are trying to win the game, not the first overall pick.
I just want to win. I want to, mess up the draft. I don't want the first pick. I want to win all these games. So, I want everybody to be mad at me for that. That's what I want to accomplish.
Raiders-Ravens, a Sunday game at 1. All of the games involving these players are tomorrow, or not involving these players. In the case of Mitchell Trubisky, who is doubtful for Bears-Lions with a shoulder, listed Tyron Smith as questionable, though Jerry Jones says that he expects him to be in the lineup. At Jets practice today, but he did not participate. The rookie quarterback, who strained his foot on November 4th and hasn't practiced since, says he's just going through protocol, that his foot feels really good and that he would love to play Sunday against the Patriots, who also had a quarterback pop up on the injury report today. Tom Brady limited with a knee injury. According to Mike Giardi, it happened on the double pass play in the Titans game. Remember, he stumbled afterward and he did not return to the game. The good news, Giardi's hearing that it is not serious enough to keep him out of this week's game. But what about Rob Gronkowski? He's missed the last 2. Giardi has on his status.
Well, first things first, I talked to a source close to Rob Gronkowski. The expectation is that, in fact, the big tight end will play. It'll be his first game in 27 days. In fact, maybe he had a chance to play against the Titans. He went on that trip. And what I'm being told is that was more of a Gronkowski decision. They sort of looked at it and said, feeling pretty good right now, but maybe take the extra week with the bye, get back out there and hope he can be his dominating self. Now, that's the thing. He hasn't been that guy since week 1 against the Houston Texans, and you've seen it with the back and the ankle injuries, just doesn't have the same explosion. I tried to get Bill Belichick to tell me whether or not Gronk's influencing defenses like he normally does. Coach wasn't really having much of that, saying, well, they don't double him on every play, and I think that's the key, because he hasn't been doubled a lot lately, and when Rob Gronkowski is right, he gets that sort of attention. Be interested to see how the Jets look at him over the course of that game.
Pats with a 2-game lead in the AFC East heading into the weekend as the 3 seed in the conference, though. Steelers in the 2 spot right now with the same number of wins, but 1 fewer loss. Chiefs in the top spot will remain so at the end of the week on a bye after their loss in L.A. Packers also lost in Los Angeles in Week 8, and they lost in Washington in Week 3, and they lost in Detroit in Week 5. And every other game they've played on the road this season, Green Bay 0-5 away from home, which is where they will be on Sunday in Minnesota, where Aaron Rodgers is hoping to turn things around.
Yeah, I think we have the squad to do it. We just need, like I said after the game, we need the moment that kind of brings us all together. Really, the game in Philly that year was an important time for us. It was the momentum starter for us, and kind of went from there. We need that to happen this weekend. We're gonna have to score 30 and be efficient.
It's an important game. We need and want to come out with a win, and there's certainly a sense of urgency, as there is every week, as we prepare.
I've got the utmost respect for Green Bay and Coach McCarthy and the things that they do there. We're going to need all of our fans in full force for this one.
to guard him, especially in the press coverage. So if you get one-on-one on Devontae, I don't care if it's Xavier Rhodes, whoever they got following them, go to Devontae, make plays. And defense, get after the quarterback. We got guys that can get after the quarterback. Make the play. Ball in the air. Go get the ball. We had chances to make plays to win games, and we're not making those plays. It's time to start making them.
You feel better now?
I feel a little better.
Some
I got
stuff
that
off
off
your
my chest. You know what I mean? I got that out.
Packers 4-5-1. Coincidentally, Rodgers versus Zimmer 4-5-1. Scott?
Two more teams fighting for NFC wildcard spots. Panthers hosting the Seahawks on Sunday. Cam Newton and Carolina trying to shake a 2-game losing streak. By the way, shout out to Cam. He and his foundation serve thousands of Thanksgiving meals in Charlotte every year. They're doing it again this year. Good on you, Cam. Yeah. As for the matchup, Cam will see Russell Wilson on the other sideline.
We know one thing about Seattle. They're going to be coached extremely hard. There is never a muted point that they're going to ever give in. And, you know, you just got to be ready to play 4 quarters of football.
It's going to be a tough game for sure. It's going to be a battle. It's going to be a lot of great players on the field and a lot of great things are going to happen. But I also think that there's going to be some tough moments you got to be able to battle through and got to be resilient. And we know these games against Carolina has always come down to the wire. And we have a lot of respect for how they play the game. They play the game the right way. They play the game fast and physical. They play the game smart. You know, the great players on offense, defense, special teams. And so we got to be ready to bring our A game.
You take a look at Carolina. Just a couple of weeks ago, we were talking about them as a contender in the entire NFC. Forget the NFC South. Well, stubbed their toe, back-to-back losses for them. They got crushed against the Steelers, and then last week at Ford Field, losing to the Lions there. And you see all the statistics that follow in that 2-game losing streak. Panthers even still are the 5 seed as we go into Thanksgiving weekend, Willie. They are
declawed.
Declawed. Oh, there you go. It's our great creative graphics folks always doing it. They're in need of a bounce back.
Right.
Do they get one this week?
You mean like a bounce back, get back on track. But this is not the type of team, the Seattle Seahawks, to get back on track. They're the best team at running the ball in the league. And if you're the Panthers, you got to do a better job at stopping the run. Your front 7 has not been the same. So when you watch what Seattle does, they run the football a lot of different ways. Russell Wilson, they hand it off to Carson. They do a lot of different things with Penny. And he gets out of the pocket. You got to account for that in the rush game. And if you look at the Panthers offensively, what they have not been doing, okay? They have not been rushing the football. Their rush yards are
strange because they have the talent.
It's cut in half.
Yeah.
The rush yards are cut in half. So you're not running the ball. We haven't seen these explosive, great design plays from North Turner we've seen in the last couple of weeks. We've seen those in the beginning of the season, and I just don't know where this team has gone wrong. But the Seattle Seahawks is a dangerous team. They can make explosive plays. Carolina has given up 15 explosive plays on defense. So you can't do that against them. The offensive line is not protecting Cam. Cam has been sacked 8 times in the last 2 weeks. So when you look at this team, you can find holes on every angle, every part of the game. They got to do a better job as a team if they think they're going to win against the Seattle Seahawks.
Well, here's the good news. Season's version of Beast Mode and Skittles,
yes, I like
right?
It. I like it.
This is the Airheads candy.
Ooh, Airheads.
Alvin Kamara has his own brand. He said he was his favorite candy, so the Airheads folks hooked him up with his own wrapper and everything else like that, James Jones.
Them watermelon Airheads is good, too.
He's a good player. Very, very good player. They're probably the best team in the NFL, the New Orleans Saints, but James Jones is ready to drop a bomb on the American football viewing public.
Scott, listen, this is going to be an upset. The Atlanta Falcons will win this ball game.
Atlanta's going to beat the New Orleans Saints in the Superdome.
The Atlanta Falcons are going to win this ball game. The Saints have played 2 division games. They are 1-1. It's hard to win division games. And then when they played the Falcons the first time, 43-37 shootout.
Okay.
Both these teams have very
overtime,
good offenses. And at that time, this kid right here, Julio Jones, that haven't even caught a touchdown. 3 weeks in a row, he got one. But listen, this is the key to win the game. Get the ball to Julio. Targets after targets after targets. When it's in his hands, plays are made. Yak, he's hard to tackle. He smells the end zone. You're not stopping me from getting in there. Ha-ha. Touchdown all day. Get it to him. Matt Ryan might have to throw 6 touchdown passes to win this ball game, but I believe it can get done, and he will have 4 of them. And then don't come up and press me. I'm big, I'm strong, I'm fast. Soft press coverage right here. You know what? We just go right there and use our 4-3. And when the ball's in the air, we all know Julio Jones is special at going to get the ball. But I need to see Matt Ryan give him more opportunities like this to go up and make plays. It's going to be tight coverage, but this kid is the best in the National Football League for a reason. Give him opportunities. The Falcons will win this game upset the New Orleans Saints.
Save the videotape for Monday morning after that prediction right there. All right. Take a look at the NFC East standings. It's a battle for first place in the middle of the 3 games on Thanksgiving. Cowboys host the Redskins. Winner goes atop the division standings. And for more on this one, we go to a guy who loves himself a football feast, Sean O'Hara.
A tradition unlike any other. Thanksgiving football. And just like turkey and stuffing that's going to be on your table, the Dallas Cowboys are going to be on your TV. But it's got a little different feel this year, all right? We've got a new dish being served at America's favorite meal. It's called Van Der Esch. Leighton Van Der Esch, the linebacker for the Cowboys, he is my X factor for this game. Let me show you why. It's because of his instincts and his closing speed. Let's start with the instincts. All right, everything about this play from the get-go is screaming it's a run play over here. All right, the play action, all the flow is that way except Leighton Van Der Esch reads the tackle. All right, and his instincts tell me something's up. Something's off. And look at the leverage right here. A great tackle right there blows up that gadget play. All right, how about the closing speed? Van Der Esch right here has the running back in man-to-man coverage. Jalen Smith's going to come on a dog blitz right here. And he sees that, hey, look, my guy's blocking. What else can I do? This is just closing speed and instincts mixed together right here. Look at him close on Matt Ryan, get a hit on the quarterback. It's a beautiful thing when it plays out in front of you. And I think people, when they're pushing away from the table and going back for seconds, just like they get done watching this football game, and the Dallas Cowboys, if they win, take control of first place, I think people are going to be saying, more Van Der Esch, please.
Dallas playing their 51st Thanksgiving game tomorrow. Lions are playing their 79th. They have been in this holiday game for a while now, and as you see here, they've also been in the Beat the Bears at Ford Field game for the last 5 years. Chicago winless in Detroit since 2012. What, Willie McGinnis, do they need to do this time to change that with Chase Daniel under center?
Something I just discovered that Chase Daniel does not do that Mitchell Trubisky does.
What's that?
He had 51 rush attempts. He's averaging 7.1 per attempt, and he's had 25 touchdowns off his rushing. This guy is a running machine, but you don't have Mitch. So what do you need to do, Chicago Bears? Hand the ball off to your running backs, Jordan Howard, Tyreek Hill. I don't understand why this team hasn't been running the ball as much, but Tariq Cohen. You've got some of the best running backs in the league. Power game. You can set up a lot of play action, a lot of down the field with these 2 guys. And Mitch is not playing. Chase Daniel is not Mitch. He's not as fluid and mobile outside of the pocket, but you got 2 guys you can hand the ball off to. I think they need to pile up on the running game.
Of all the weeks to have to change your quarterback, this was potentially the worst week for the Bears. An 85-hour.
It's not a matter of if Mahomes and Goff are on Kurt Warner's top 5 for the week. It's a matter of where they're ranked. KW, what do you say?
Well, I tell you what, Scott, it wasn't flawless quarterback play by those 2. A lot of turnovers in the game. But strictly from an entertainment standpoint, how can they not be on the list? I put them right there at 4 and 5, and of course the winner gets the higher spot.
There you go.
They both did so many good things, so many fun things that as a fan of the position, as the fan of big plays, it was just so much fun to watch. I mean, we are still talking about the game, but those 2 guys, as you said, had to have a spot on the list. And even though it wasn't flawless, we find them at 5 and at 4 respectively. But it was fun. And what I love is these 2 teams push the ball down the field, which I love as a quarterback. At the number 3 spot, I always say that if you throw more touchdowns than you throw incompletions, you're going to get a spot on the list as long as your team wins. And so Eli Manning been scrutinized a lot this year, but when you give him time, he can still pick you apart. Had a great game this past weekend. At number 2 is a guy nobody's talking about, but should be getting more love, and that's Andrew Luck.
Oh, yeah.
7 straight with 3 touchdown passes or more. 29 touchdown passes. I mean, he's on pace for 46, 47 touchdown passes, and we're not even talking about him. he's at number 2, and then number 1 again is Drew Brees. I mean, this guy has been masterful this year. I mean, some of the throws he's made, the quick decisions, the accuracy is unmatched in the history of the game. It is just so much fun to watch him. Older in years, but he looks like a young kid in the way he's in command and the way he's throwing the football. So he gets the number 1 spot.
At 25 touchdowns, 1 interception. He's on pace to do something we've never seen in the NFL. All right, let's see the fans list. I got to think they have they have Mahomes and Goff at 3 and 2. And then they swap in Ben Roethlisberger. Apparently they like the come-from-behind win in Jacksonville there.
Wow. I mean, yeah, it was a great comeback, but I mean, 3-4 picks, and you didn't score any points until late in the game. Sorry, can't put Big Ben on the list this week. Eli thought he deserved some love. I mean, 1 incompletion on the game. That's a pretty darn good performance.
Ben did have the game-winning rushing touchdown for what that is worth. Hey, Kurt, happy Thanksgiving to you and yours, and we'll see you on game day morning at 10 a.m. Thursday.
Game day morning, 3 games, Bears, Lions, Redskins, Cowboys, Falcons, Saints, and 3 post-game editions of NFL Total Access. We are all over this day tomorrow, and you've got your fantasy angle covered as well. Michael Fabiano here to help you make the best choice, presented by Golden Corral. Starting with your Thanksgiving Day starts, aside from the obvious ones on the Saints offense in particular, who are you excited about plugging into your lineup tomorrow?
You know what? I like Tevin Coleman, and I get it. His last couple of games, he hasn't been putting up great numbers, but you want shares of Saints and Falcons because this figures to be a high-scoring game. Coleman did score a touchdown against the Saints in a game earlier this season. I'm also starting Jordan Reed. In an offense in Washington that's all banged up, Jordan Reed's actually stayed healthy this year, Lindsay, and he finally had a big game last week, scoring over 20 fantasy points. The Cowboys have struggled against tight ends over the last few weeks, and Colt McCoy, maybe he's what Jordan Reed needed to sort of kickstart his stats.
What about the other Jordan, Howard? Does he get a boost with Trubisky out?
You would think so, but he's been so unreliable from a fantasy perspective. I have him as a flex starter, and I probably don't trust him much more than that. Another guy I don't trust, Allen Robinson, who has, he's been up and down all season long. 2 weeks ago, he feasted on Lion, right? But if you start him on Thanksgiving Day, you're probably going to feel like a turkey. Why? Because Darius Slay is back, and that's a bad matchup for Allen Robinson. And, of course, Mitchell Trubisky is doubtful for the game. I'm also sitting Matthew Stafford. I don't know what's happened to Stafford. He has typically been a top 10 fantasy quarterback. This year, that has not been the case. He's put up fewer than 18 fantasy points in 6 straight games, and he's playing the Bears. Do I need to say more? There's not much analysis needed because the Bears' defense is one of the best in the league.
What about Galladay?
Love him. Start him. Babytron, get him into your lineups. Happy Thanksgiving. He will put up a massive stat line.
3 games tomorrow. Don't forget to set your lineup. And if you need any more...
It's free. Want to sleep better? Sleep on Purple.
Hi, I'm Matt Ryan, and I'm wishing everyone a happy Thanksgiving. Enjoy the time with your family.
Hey, this is Tyler Matthew from the Houston Texans. I want to wish everyone and their families a happy Thanksgiving.
I'm Kareem Jackson of the Houston Texans. I want to wish everybody a happy Thanksgiving and eat all the turkey you can eat today.
So this is a holiday where we give thanks for invisible wine, good company,
paper plates,
and what we're thankful for about the NFL season. Let's go around the table. James, you're up first.
I guess I'll start this off. I am thankful for Andy Reid, and the reason why I say this is because Andy Reid, you could have stayed with Alex Smith, kept the young kid in the kitchen, but you didn't, and you blessed us with Patrick Mahomes, and we're witnessing greatness of what this kid is doing on the field. Thank you, Andy Reid. I am very thankful for you.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers. You won't hear a clink, but a plop. There you go. There it is. Cheers.
All right, Willie, what about you?
Well, we always talk about the great offenses and all the yards and points scored and all those different things, but I'm grateful for great defensive play that we pretty much don't appreciate all the time. And I got a little collage.
I'm going for seconds.
I'm going for seconds. We got a little collage of all the great play. So look at the board. You see the Watt brothers up here. Why are they up there? Because they got double-digit sacks. We got the usual suspects up here like Von Miller, Chandler Jones, DeMarcus Lawrence, who's going to get a big deal pretty much. And then you got rookie play, great rookie play. Van Der Esch is on my board. Bradley Chubb has been playing great, okay? Guess what? Darius Leonard leads the league in tackles. He's one of the best defenses in the league. And then guess what? We got the big play guys. You remember the big deals we got in the offseason with Khalil Mack and Aaron Donald? Come on, you guys, switch my board so we can see it. There it is. Isn't that nice? Look at all these contracts.
You're thankful for their money?
I'm thankful for them earning their keep, Lindsay, playing at a high level. You got two defensive players that could possibly be the defensive players of the year with the highest contracts. And forget what Kurt said. This man could possibly be the MVP of the league. And Danielle Hunter out of nowhere, over 11.5 sacks. We've had some great defensive play. We've had guys step up and match their contracts to their play. And Aaron Donald could possibly be the MVP. I know a lot of people don't want to put him in that conversation, but he has a shot.
Nice. And you know what? They earn their keep, and that makes it easier for the next set of defenders.
I know they Thanksgiving is nice.
Yes, it is.
That's really nice.
Cheers.
Cheers to that.
What about you?
Yeah. Well, I know in some households, Thanksgiving is a time for argument among family members. So I'm going to disagree with Willie, actually, with my being thankful for touchdowns. 895 touchdowns. He went the defensive guys. Touchdowns are good for business for an NFL Red Zone host. There have been 895 of them, the most we have ever seen at this point in any NFL season. Fellas, keep them coming.
I thought it was
like
Thanksgiving, but it's about you. It's not about you.
He's thankful for other people.
I'm appreciative.
Doing their job.
Actually, seriously, you guys,
You slid that promotion in there.
I'm thankful for great colleagues. You don't know this. This man brought us in sweet potato pie cake. What was it? Gooey cakes. Delicious. Thank you, Willie.
Good.
Appreciate you, brother.
Almost as good as the legs on this wine.
See mine gone.
Come on, Rody.
Okay, here's what I'm thankful for. And this isn't just me being an LA homer. I am thankful for the return of football to Los Angeles, the number 2 media market in America. And we've had some teams for a few years now, but it feels like it really returned this year. The Chargers have 7 wins. And with all due respect to the Chargers, in some ways it kind of feels like it returned to LA this week on Monday with that win in that environment. If you want to win over LA fans, and I say this as an Angelino, we are slightly a front-running group. You need to, A, be good, and then B, you need to make it an event. You need to make it a place where people can say, I was at the Rams game and you weren't yesterday. That's how the Lakers have worked up their fan base.
That's how USC used to be. Can we get USC back that way?
Everybody's
Why you gotta bring it down? So back to the Rams and the Chargers.
You know what?
Grateful for that.
All of us are going to be working on Thanksgiving, and we while we take some time away from our families, we hope you enjoy all of our work, not only on Thanksgiving, but through the year. We appreciate all of you watching NFL Total Access, as you always do. And you know what, folks? There have been some great things done by football teams that are working and still serving in their communities. I got a couple examples here. This is in Nashville. Great job by the Tennessee Titans. They teamed up with Bridge Ministries to serve over 500 meals to those in need. They also passed out groceries. They passed out winter clothing, some freezing temperatures coming to the Nashville area, passed out toiletries to help those folks get through the winter in Tennessee. Well done. And in Tampa, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers offensive line, they eat big and they serve big. They passed over 1,000 Thanksgiving meals out to folks who drive through service, I guess. They call this Turkey Time with the O-Line. It's the 12th straight year they've been doing this. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody. Well done to those big eaters down there in...
We're selling it.
For little kids?
Uh-huh.
Don't miss NFL Game Day morning, Thanksgiving Day at 10 a.m. Eastern.
What's trending now, presented by Hyundai. It's Thanksgiving, of course, which is something that the Chiefs and Rams will be able to enjoy more thoroughly this year. They're both on a bye, which means they can go home for the holiday or to a Texas Tech basketball game, whatever they so choose. This is also getting passed around quite a bit on social media today. This is a message from Aaron Rodgers in which he announces that he will donate $1 million to go toward the recovery and rebuild of the areas affected by the Camp Fire in Northern California. He also announces that State Farm will donate $1 up to $1 million for every retweet of this or use of the hashtag retweet for good. That's the number 4. And the Packers are donating $250,000 to these efforts. So a lot to be thankful for here as we approach the holiday, upon which we give thanks and give the ball to Chase Daniel. Bears quarterbacks traveling today to Detroit for tomorrow's game, and Trubisky is making the trip. Scott?
Well, Lindsay, you look at the Thanksgiving Day lineup right here on NFL Network. We know there's all kinds of choices on your television dial. Why don't you spend the great football holiday with us? 7 a.m., it's Good Morning Football. 10 a.m., a special edition of NFL Game Day Morning. They'll get you ready for all the games teeing up, and then a bunch of NFL Total Access. We'll have one after the Lions game. We'll have one after the Cowboys game. We'll have one after the Saints game as well, telling you what happened and how, and looking ahead to the Sunday action here in week number 12. So 3 games, all with a first-place team involved, and in the case of Washington and Dallas, the battle for first place. Who's winning these games?
Bears,
Lions. We'll start in chronological order. Bears, Lions.
I got the Lions. I think the Lions are going to win this one at home on Thanksgiving. They got that Lions home field advantage where it's real quiet in there. You don't really wake up to play. They're the only team that know how to play in there. I say they win.
It's going to be quiet because nothing's going to be happening in there. And don't be trying to disrespect the Bears by saying the Lions. It's the Bears. The Bears defense alone is going to, I mean, they've been on a tear. One of the best in the league. If not, they are the best, taking the football away. They may even score a couple touchdowns.